Hey, Rob, I think you want to. Oh yeah, you go right there. Hey y'all, man, we got some devastating evidence tonight, man. It's not on our devastating for us. It's devastating for all the lies. The lies just, man, it just make your flesh crawl once you just go and find out the truth and then figure out how did they get away with that type of lie, like that. How did that lie even? But we gonna put it together tonight, man. I got Chief on. We got some clips. We got some slides, man. We up for another one. This another one, man. The famous words of DJ Khaled, man. We the best. You want to say anything, Chief, before we get this thing cracking?
Let's I don't got nothing to lead with.
Hey,
So
public notice.
let's get into it. Well, anything we do is public notice, notice the agent, notice the principal, for the redemption of the people of the land. So that's automatic without saying.
Right.
And all social media platforms are valid destinations for public notices with a time-stamped archivable format with a reach above 1,000 people. They all qualify: Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, TikTok, MySpace. No matter where you at on social media, it's a time-stamped archivable format, and it has a reach of over 1,000 people. And we know notice the agent, notice the principal, so they are notified anytime we broadcast, even if we don't say it.
That's right.
Following the oral tradition of the tribes of the land.
Go ahead.
I said, following the oral tradition of the tribes of the land. They have to abide by what we put out in the public domain.
That's right. And peace and love to all the empresses and the matriarch on the land, because this is a part of restoring the memory. This class is going to activate certain parts of your DNA, of your memory, of who you really are and how powerful you were before this Rockefeller era. That's what I'm starting to figure out. It's the Rockefeller era that did it, that really stuck it to us. All right, Ross, so you want me to, so I think if I get into the clips first, that'll lead us into the slides, because some of the clips are going to bring us to some of the slides. Now, we got some interesting slides here. Let's roll some of these slides, man, and see what we got, man. There's some interesting stuff here.
Why is the government lying to us about history? There is a civilization as recent as 100 years ago that was omitted from the history books called the Tartarian Empire, and it was technologically far superior. They were able to convert atmospheric pressure into electricity, and as a result of unlimited free energy, they were able to direct their focus towards unity, oneness, peace, love, and harmony, which we don't see in today's society, as there is no profit for evil people in times of peace. Tartaria was a country with its own government, its own flag, and its own place on the map. Its territory was huge, covering over 3 million square miles, and if you look back far enough, the country exists on maps predating the 19th century. The Great Wall of China, which is located on China's northern border, is believed to have been built by the Tartarians, although history would say otherwise. There are openings on the wall that are only accessible from the north face of the wall, or from Tartaria. The world government destroyed an entire utopia and kept it hidden because they don't want humanity knowing that there is sustainability in the collective without the interference of heads of state.
Not only did they erase Tartaria, 1776 was the year everything changed.
I want to, before I forget about the first question, it's on the first one. Now, on the first one, I don't know if you've seen that part, and I got the document too in the slides about the CIA, how all this stuff come out. Somebody found out about it, whistleblower. Is the CIA had a document that came out in 1957 talking about our civilization in America and abroad in Asia. And we had ancient technology, and about we had levitation, all kind of stuff they listed in that document. And they said that the CIA was partially responsible for keeping this quiet and covering it up. Well, he just read he was reading out of the document in that clip I just read. So what are your take? Why would the CIA be involved in covering the like ancient technology that we had over here prior to 1492?
But when you look at the sheer number of people you have to control,
Mm-hmm.
you can't micromanage everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Mass control is done through the control and the flow of how information is given and how the implied perception of that information is to be received by the person you're trying to control,
Mm-hmm.
right? We talking about Tartaria, but it's actually ancient Tartarus. Now remember, they demonize everything that was prior to the current cycle
Mm-hmm.
because they don't want you looking at the old cycles. They only want you to look at the one where they can control the narrative, which is the current,
Mm-hmm.
the now cycle, right? So they control you day by day, step by step, barrier by barrier. It's like, you ever seen the corrals on the cow farm that can funnel the cows down into the bath or funnel
Yeah,
them into the barn?
that's right.
They they don't use physical barriers. They use psychological barriers.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And the psychological barriers is not predicated upon the individual psychology, but the group psychology,
Mm-hmm.
right? So this is what they call group think, right? It's part of a dystopia society, and they want to heal the dystopia society. So they want to disrupt the group think by controlling what the group think. So you have to control the flow of information. They keep bringing up Tartarians in Tartaria, but it's not what people think it is in the terms that they given it. They talking about what we would say prehistoric or antediluvian people.
Right.
The reason all that stuff was it was because of warfare. Everything was covered up with the mud.
That's right.
The nuclear winter that gave us an artificial ice age that created the sediments that concealed what was under the ground.
Right.
Right. So after the nuclear winter, we have the thaw. We have to go back into a sun cycle to balance out the frequency.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
The only way to come into a sun cycle is you have to have a golden age. The golden age has to always follow a harsher metal, like an iron age.
Mm-hmm.
So we go into the golden age, but the only way you can go to a golden age is mass awareness of the entry into the golden age before it's in full swing.
Right. It makes sense.
You have to reach critical mass on the 100 monkey effect.
Yeah.
Because there's so many people, the 100 monkey effect need more people thinking about moving into the next shift in order to break free from the ancient paradigm or the old paradigm, the one we already used up yesterday, in order to turn tomorrow into today. Right? So we ain't built tomorrow yet. That's why we ain't got there yet.
That's right.
That's why we live in today. We already lived yesterday. We used that shit up. Now the only thing it can serve for is a mirror. So you'll know what to do and what not to do. Or as the women would say, she'll know how to put her eyeliner on straight by looking in the mirror.
Right. Makes sense.
Right. So we hear the term, we got to realize that it's a generalization sprung from a concept of a specific geography on the planet.
Right.
We have to also be aware of the fact that they flipped the maps. All of the maps are upside down. What we thinking the Earth is look like is upside down from that.
That's what they saying that was to tear this land mass right here.
That's Pangea.
Yeah.
All lands connected. Right? So what came first, Pangea or Tartarian?
Right.
right? Because the Tartaria happened after Pangea split, it's been long gone.
Yeah, you're right, Rod.
Yeah.
The name, what we getting at is the technology that they had, that these people had in the 1900s.
Right. Okay, so how did we get to using the term Tartaria to refer to this ancient architecture and this ancient technology they used to develop this architecture?
Right.
The reason why is because we got the receipts. I don't know if he was able to download them, but Tartaria was in reference to a specific geography and a specific group of people that had higher technology in construction in a specific area. It's like the word for knockout came, I'm a Tyson your ass.
Yeah.
Right? So it became a colloquial term for all ancient advanced civilizations based on a current civilization that's been around since ancient times.
Right.
Right? So when you look at places that was here, like Angkor Wat, that who built it? It don't matter who built it. Read the architecture. There's a message in it.
Go ahead.
Right? So they got this guy named Fucanelli, and he's what you call an architectural mystic.
Mm-hmm.
And this is his field of study, is to read the architecture and design in the buildings. Mm-hmm. We don't know, when you look at the top of that building right there, those are mammary glands.
Man, go ahead, bro. You telling me? Let me write this down.
Them titties and nipples.
Go ahead.
Right? That was from the matriarchy. That's why it's a prominent structure in Islam, is because they adopted it from the matriarchs.
Doc said all what you said. All what you're saying, Doc.
Right. The patriarch symbol is what we call the obelisk, mm-hmm. which represents the phallus of the father. Mm-hmm. But if he don't have a Vesica Pisces at the bottom of it, then the father is gone rogue. The Vesica Pisces is the potent penetration of the father into the mother in order to produce the next. Symbolism. Mm. Right? So they have these things. The minaret is the phallus symbol. The long, tall building they call a dine front. Right? Mm. So it's a phallus song, which tells you that it was patriarchy that's calling you to prayer. But he ain't telling you that he's usurping the matriarchy. When you choose Allah over Allah, that means that you don't know your history and you don't know what your language was doing over the years.
A lot of the architect got feminine structures. I have to write that
especially
down.
When you start talking about ancient architecture, it's a lot of feminine qualities to the art.
The very feminine.
A lot of the art was done by women until patriarchy banned them from doing it. This is all historical records around the world. You got to remember, India is the oldest continuous unaltered colonized people. They've had the same culture in India for about 60,000 straight years.
Yeah, I can see that.
Okay, now remember, before first dynastic Kemet, the pyramids was already there. Let that sink in. Before the first dynasty rose in Egypt, the pyramids was already ancient. Then we think in the first dynasty is ancient history, right? When we get into this, there's a subsection called prehistory in the historical record of academia. When you start studying prehistory, you start saying, wait a minute, the narrative they gave us under Darwinism was that we was in caves around fires and crawled out the caves and built civilization over this many years.
Right. What the crap?
But how can you have a prehistory with all of these intricately designed structures if the history is correct? Because according to them, the human species is 6,000 years old.
Yeah.
Right?
8 species.
That don't even make sense based on their literature they produced, because Abraham was supposed to be approximately 4,200 BC.
Right.
Right?
Right.
And that would make us Abraham 6,000 years from us. So if people only 6,000 years old, wait a minute. Who was before Abraham? How long was it between Abraham and Adam?
He had a mother.
Now remember, in the books, the first books, when they talk about Adam and Eve them was living 1,000 years. How old was Methuselah?
Go ahead.
Right? They was old ancient ones. So then Abraham come along after the 120-year cap is put on, the telomere stripped back to only last 120 years. This was a carryover from the Anunnaki tablets.
Yeah, and live.
Because he wanted to limit the lifespan of man, so he couldn't live long enough to think on the level of the ancient gods.
I'm starting to believe that's who did this, bro. I'm believing. Go ahead. I'm starting to believe that they reset us, that Enlil reset us recently, like in the 1900s.
We went through a lot of stuff. They use the medical field to break our genetics down and cause us to acquire illnesses. A lot of the stuff that they tell us that, like, oh, this mummy, he died from this one, that. They didn't. No, they didn't. Because back then, we didn't get sick like that.
Yeah, none of
with cancer.
That's right.
Cancer is new. Cancer not even 200 years old. Let that sink in. Where it come from then?
Dang. Probably eat meat.
When you go back to the Nobel Prize winning Otto von Bismarck, who won the Nobel Peace Prize for finding the cause and the cure for all types of cancer in 1932. Right, the Otto von Warburg, that's his name. Otto von Bismarck was the founder of the Second Reich. Anyway, so we start getting sick in the 1900s because we didn't even need doctors. We had medicine men and herbalists, and we go through age-related stuff. We go to the herbalist, he give us a dietary fix to the problem, and we don't have a problem no more. And we go on about smoking our cigarettes from 5 to 105 with no cancer, no lung cancer. All of a sudden now you catch a lung. It's not the cigarettes. It's the chemicals they putting on the cigarettes that's causing the cancer.
Cigarettes, yeah. They putting 4,000 chemicals.
And remember, one of the chemicals they use to dust the tobacco crops is a strain of uranium. What's uranium used for? To make atomic bombs.
Right.
It's reactive, nuclear reactive. So it's putting radiation on the plant. Then they got certain isotopes they put on the plant. Wait, why you got to break down stuff to isotopes to put on the plant? Right? Well, we use the natural earth. Go out, harvest the tobacco leaves, and we chop the stalks up to be fertilizer for the next season. Probably throw a little cow dung or bison dung over in there, just to enrich the soil. And after a short period of time, it'll all come up green again. Till the soil, plant the tobacco, and do it all over again. They don't do that no more. 1932, Senate Select Committee declared that all of the land was nutritionally depleted from excessive farming.
Oh, crap.
So they already knew. Then they declared that because of the lack of nutrients in the soil, it would require the future generations to need to supplement the nutritional value through vitamins and supplementation and mineral supplementation.
Hey, I gotta play these Nick clips. Now I'm gonna play 2 clips back to back, and then I got a couple questions, and I got a question to go with something you just asked. But I'm writing everything down. That's why I like have. I'm glad I got this notepad when I'm on with you. I'm glad I've got this notepad, right? Hey, so yeah, let me go ahead and play these next 2 clips. Then I'm gonna ask these questions, and then the questions that I got for these next 2 clips.
Roll the corn.
Not only did they erase Tartaria, 1776 was the year everything changed. In 1776, the Illuminati was founded in Bavaria. The Rothschild banking empire began its global expansion. The American Revolution broke out. Tartaria began to disappear from the maps, all in the same year. Coincidence? Tartaria was not a myth. It was a vast, ancient civilization with advanced free energy technology, great architecture using sacred geometry, a harmonious way to live with natural law, knowledge of the ether. They buried Tartaria, literally, with mud floods, natural disasters, and a new history. Once they buried the old world, they created the new one. Central banks, slavery by debt, maritime law, artificial scarcity, indoctrination through education, all funded by the same families. The Rothschilds didn't just fund empires. They funded restarts and deleted everything that didn't serve the system of control. Tartaria was way too free, way too advanced, way too powerful. So they turned everything upside down. Free energy became fossil fuel. The truth became a conspiracy. The spirit became religion. Nature has become a resource. Freedom became an illusion.
Well, how long did the original Yankee Stadium take to construct?
The original Yankee Stadium took approximately 284 days to
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Did you say days? Did you say this took how? Say that again for the people in the back.
The original Yankee Stadium took 284 days to construct, from May 1922 to April 1923. That's less than 10 months.
Yeah, it is. You want to do an estimate of the materials for this as far as the granite, the limestone, marble, and iron is concerned? Please include the subfloors as well.
Yankee Stadium's material breakdown: granite, 300,000 cubic feet.
And please make sure you're considering the underground levels as well, and connected to the tunnel systems that were so important to build.
Considering underground levels and tunnel systems, Yankee Stadium's total material estimate increases: granite, 400,000 cubic feet; limestone, 300,000 cubic feet; marble, 100,000 square feet; iron/steel, 15,000 tons; concrete, 500,000 square feet. Total estimated weight, approximately 750,000 tons.
So what's the total weight of construction materials?
Approximately 750,000 tons of construction materials were used to build Yankee Stadium, including underground levels and tunnel systems.
That's incredible that all that material got there with horses and donkeys.
Indeed. Most materials were transported by horse-drawn carriages and wagons, while some heavier items came by rail.
And muddy roads, and you said that they constructed this in under a year, huh?
Yes. Yankee Stadium was built in under a year, from May 1922 to April 1923.
How many tons did you say? What was the number of tons of just the material?
Approximately 750,000 tons of construction materials were used to build Yankee Stadium.
That's an awful lot, you know.
Yes, it is.
Let's try and break down just for an estimate, like how many horses, let's say all the materials were 10 miles away, all the materials just 10 miles away. How many times would the horses have to go back and forth? How many horses would be attached to a sled? How many horses would go back, and how long would that take?
Interesting question. Assuming 750,000 tons of materials 10 miles away and 1 ton per horse-drawn sled load, 750,000 loads, 10 miles per trip. 20 miles round trip. 1 to 2 horses per sled, average 375,000 to 750,000 horse trips, 6 to 12 million horse miles, 2,000 to 4,000 days, 6 to 12 years of continuous horse travel, assuming 10 hours/day.
Okay, so we'll say there was 500 horses and the materials were 10 miles away.
With 500 horses, 750,000 loads, and 10 miles per trip, 1,500 trips per horse, 3,750,000 horse miles. 500 horses x 1,500 trips equals 750,000 loads. Assuming 2 trips/day, 375 to 750 days, 1 to 2 years of horse travel.
So it take 1 to 2 years just to get the stuff there, and this was all built in a year. That seems implausible then, doesn't it, John?
Yes, it seems highly unlikely that Yankee Stadium could have been built in just 1 year. Considering the transportation time alone would take around 1 to 2 years with 500 horses.
All right, so let's do a timeline of how this would get constructed today, modern day, and we already have all the horses, have already brought all of the equipment here. Today, modern equipment, we're building this. Let's give myself a timeline. Go for it.
Let's see. Here's a modern day construction timeline for Yankee Stadium. 1. Site preparation, 2 months. 2. Foundation excavation, 3 to 6 months. 3. Foundation concrete and rebar, 4 to 6 months. 4. Structural framing, 6 to 9 months. 5. Exterior cladding and glazing, 6 to 9 months. 6. Interior construction, 9 to 12 months. 7. Finishing work, 6 to 9 months. Total estimated construction time, 36 to 60 months, 3 to 5 years.
And that's today with all of our infinite amount of money. No, money's not an object at all, and we can do all this now. It would take that long, opposed to 1 year.
Even with unlimited funds and modern technology, construction would take around 3 to 5 years. In contrast, the original Yankee Stadium was built in approximately 1 year, 1922 to 1923, with limited resources and technology.
And all of the stonework was done by hand with chisels and hammers, you say?
Yes, the original Yankee Stadium's intricate stonework was crafted by skilled laborers using manual tools like chisels, hammers, and hand saws, showcasing exceptional craftsmanship and attention to detail.
I mean, minutes where he breaking down how it was just clearly impossible for that stadium to be built in between 1922 to 1923 with all that granite. Where they get all that granite from? And then if you go look it up, it's farther than 10 miles away to get granite to that spot. So pretty much that spot was built before they came over here. So it ain't no telling how it could have been built as a cathedral or as a coliseum and before 1492. And I got more. I'm gonna show you, but that's just one. Go ahead, Rod. Go ahead.
You remember the show we did about them turning our castles into prisons?
Yeah, I got some on that too. I got a clip on that too.
It's the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
Why would it be any different?
Right.
Right. They turned our coliseums into sports arenas.
Right.
Right. Now, unlike the Silver Dome, right? People in Pontiac watched the Silver Dome be built from the ground up. Like it was a local tourist attraction to go see the construction of the Silver Dome, so we know what happened.
Right.
Right. The palace. We used to drive past when they was building the palace. You could see the palace under construction.
Right.
Right. Just like now it's gone. It's something entirely different there now where the palace used to be.
Wow.
Right. We've seen that stuff happen. And we've seen how it was done and how long it took.
Yeah.
Right. And it took almost 3 years to build the palace. It took a couple of years to build the Silver Dome.
Yeah.
Right. My uncle worked on the Sears Tower, so we know that was built because I got a family member that was part of the construction crew that was a skywalker. He was walking on them beams that used to be you see in the old black and white movies.
Right.
right? But that most of Chicago downtown, right, is older than they tell us. Part of Chicago, where we call the downtown Chicago area, the Gold Coast, part of that is under in the lake. Everybody in Chicago just know it. It's not even like it's a big deal that we know it. It's like we all know that it's under the lake is part of the downtown Chicago area.
Yeah, I got a clip on that too.
Right. So they had what was called shelves. And they blew the shelf in order to sink the city. The same thing they did with St. Bernard Parish. By strategically placing explosives, you make a shelf crack away from the water, and then it'll sink because it's laying on top of water, right? So if you look at Lake Michigan and right off Chicago, part of the city is underwater because of the wars. If you go to Louisiana, off where St. Bernard Parish is, you will see church steeples sticking out the water.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've been
right.
that.
That's because it was a city on the part of the city was on the shelf.
Yeah,
we know that New Orleans is below sea level.
That's right.
Right, and the shelf was one of the land barriers that they had to build dikes to replace once they blew the shelf off because there's nothing to stop the water from coming in. Right? So we know that a lot of the stuff they told us in history has been retold under different names and descriptions, but it's still the same. Right? They want us to believe that this land was totally undeveloped, uninhabited. It was nothing but jungle over here and a couple savage half humans that were swinging from trees
with thongs and spears.
Yeah, and nothing can be further from the truth.
Man,
and all you got to do is go back to the Pilgrim story. The Pilgrims couldn't survive here
without us.
They was dying.
That's right.
Till some natives came along and fed them. And what these rotten bastards give us back in return? They gave us Black Friday, the Great Massacre.
Dang.
The Pequot Massacre. Caught us eating all that turkey, tryptophan, smoking all them herbs and drinking that alcohol. Hardy, dancing around the fire.
Dang.
And then when we all take it in for the night, 2, 3 in the morning. Then they come in 4, 5 in the morning and slaughter us in our sleep. We know what happened. We just got to remember that the people that's in control is not going to never give us the narrative that we need to see what happened to the collective of our people. Right?
Yeah, go ahead.
Well, go ahead on.
No, that's what I was going to say. So we had to already have an advanced civil, and I'm gonna play this next clip too. For the shout out Brooklyn, man. Shout out New York, Harlem, everywhere in New York, right? The 5 Barrels, right? Shout out the 5 Barrels, right? But hey, we about to play this next clip for y'all in Brooklyn, man, about the Brooklyn Bridge. This about to get crazy, y'all. Watch this.
Okay, do y'all remember when I told y'all about the Brooklyn Bridge? This structure here that I told you they didn't build, right? Well, when I told you they didn't build this structure, I need y'all to understand. You see this piece right here, and you see all of this? That's what they did. That's what they attached to the structure. This structure here, they did not touch, they didn't have anything to do with that structure. I'm gonna tell you exactly what this structure was for, and it wasn't for that. And I'm going to tell you how I know they didn't build this bridge is because they discovered a bunker in 2006. Now remember, this bridge was supposedly built in 1900, some 100 years ago, right? They built this bridge. But somehow in 2006, like 100 years later, they're just now finding out that there's a bunker inside. Now, is there a bunker inside of this? There's not a bunker. It's simply a Tartarian structure, and you know this thing, it goes all the way down into the ground, like all the rest of the structures do. But in order to explain that away, they tell you there's a bunker in it. But at the same time, what are they admitting? Y'all didn't build this. You know you didn't build this, because if you did build this, you'd have the blueprints for it, and you wouldn't have had to discover that there's a bunker in something that you built. Let's keep it moving. A Cold War bunker was discovered in Brooklyn Bridge in 2006 during a routine structural inspection. Discovered the bunker while inspecting the bridge's masonry foundations. Y'all ain't even know it was there. If you didn't know it was there, you know damn well you didn't build it. Okay? Let's keep it moving, shall we? This is what the bunker looked like. Look, archway, look, archway. Y'all already know. Y'all already know who built this. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. Come on, man. I'ma have the receipts. Like
thing, but he's gonna keep on going right there. But there's another one of the Brooklyn Bridge being there prior to them, and they just discovering that it was a bunker. I mean, well, like a little tunnel, and it might go on. They didn't go down. I don't know if they probably they ain't saying nothing about going down there, but you know they sent a team down there to see where it connect to. Right, but it's just another thing where they lie. We catching them in the lies about they saying this was built, and I got more from the road where they say, oh, this was built in a year. It's Chicago, the World Fair. They said they built the World Fair at Chicago in 1 year, and then they burned it out. It was all plastic, and they burned it down. That's what they told us. That's the lie they gave us. Roy, go ahead.
Yeah, they said a Great Fire was started in Chicago by cow knocking over a lantern, right? So all this stuff they telling us, but the artifacts and the structures is not telling the same story that they telling us, right? So you had people that had access to materials from the era, right? The hardest books to find right now is the books written in the 1400s. The English don't even look the same.
Right.
Do the thing. The O'Leary burn. It started in the O'Leary burn on October 8th, 1871. Factors like the drought conditions, strong winds, and the city's predominantly wooden buildings fueled the fire's rapid and devastating spread, which ultimately destroyed a large part of the city. While the popular tale claims Mr. O'Leary's cow kicked over a lantern, the origin remains a mystery, with other theories include human errors such as gambling disputes in the barn.
Damn. This is what they sold us.
Man, Chicago had brick buildings back then. How you gonna burn them down? You have to repurpose them. Chicago's always been a metropolis to us. The Grand Doula Center for the Great Chiefs was always at Cook County Hospital. We had one in New York, one in California, and what we call the City of Angels, one in Chicago, one in New Orleans, and one in Florida. Right? Each one of them Grand Doula Centers is where they look for the Chiefs to come back.
Hey, Raw, you know something else? They said, like, it's mighty funny that in all these, and I got more clips, they're going to just break it down, but it's mighty funny that in all of our major cities, some right around the same time during this same little window, the 1920 window, that some mysterious happened, like the this incident right here that we were talking about earlier.
You don't remember we did a whole show on floods and fires?
Yeah, it's called the Organic Wars. Remember that one we did called Organic Wars?
Yeah, but you should put the link in the description to this when you're done.
I put it in there for him.
Don't forget to make the notes so you don't forget.
All right. Oh yeah, I'm gonna do it. I got you. I thought it was one here where they talked about that.
And you can put the one where we talked about them turning the turning our castles into prisons and mental institutions and state buildings.
Yeah, I got that. This right
Yeah,
here, Rod. This was another weird one that I thought that. How did that happen?
Yeah. A large storage tank holding 2.3 million U.S. gallons of molasses burst. A wave of molasses moving at an estimated 35 miles an hour rushed through Boston's north end.
Burning the whole damn city down.
He killed 21 people and injured 150, with residents reporting for decades that the area still smelled of molasses on hot summer days.
That's what they do. They pull these events, and come to find out, I think the Rockefellers was tied into this company some kind of way. I looked into it. I looked into it on AI. Right? It was tied into this.
Remember, the Rockefellers, the Rothschilds, the Bilderbergs, the Morgans, the Oppenheimer, those are all fronts.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the front families. That's right.
They not really the ones pulling the strings behind the scenes. They just the ones allowed to sign the paperwork.
That's right.
They've been commissioned to sign paperwork. That's why they don't own that. They got everything in the trust. Because everything in the trust is owned by the trust, and the people that own the trust is not them. They don't own the trust. They live off the trust. The trust was established by Swiss bankers in order to give them the opulent lifestyle and the appearance of power and wealth. They not the ones with the money. That's not old money. 100 years old is not old money. Old money go all the way back to Pharaoh's coffers, go back to the coffers of Xerxes, the coffers of Brahma.
Mm-hmm.
And they all owned by Big Mama. That's old money. That's ancient money.
Right. That's right.
Right? So when you realize that these people are just fronts and help you to get past the idea that some cave dwellers called out the caves and conquered some Skywalkers.
Right. The damn
Skywalker is in the name Zulu. When they came you there, the Zulu, them Inky sons. Right? Over here, they don't call them Zulu, they call them Hopi.
Mm-hmm.
Different tribe. Mirror tribe. Bantu. Right? All these different tribes over there have mirror tribes over here.
That's right.
And if we wasn't related, we wouldn't have mirror tribes.
That's right.
So we know they are cousins, and we don't have no problem with them, the people. We got a problem with the people that's pretending to be the power structure.
That's right.
They got a problem with it too, because they doing something about it, as we can see in real time.
That's right.
Right? We doing something about it over here, but the hard part is to convince the rest of us that we all got to wake up to the fact that something is being done by putting it in the public domain.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Right? So once we can get enough people aware of the fact of what's taking place, the reclamation is taking place, the restoration is taking place, stop looking at yesterday, get out of the victim mentality and get in the victor mentality.
Right.
Right? Stop thinking and feeling like the loser and start feeling like a winner, and it'll change your world on a dime. You can't be a loser and a winner.
Right.
You can't think that you could be a winner at losing. That just make you the bump. You last all the time. But you're not last because you not putting in the work. Right? They don't want to do the self-analysis. They want to purify the ego so they can walk in a higher light.
Mm-hmm.
They want their light to shine, but they want to keep it in the cupboard.
Mm-hmm.
And it don't work like that.
Mm-hmm.
You can't have your light shine and put it in the cupboard expecting to be able to walk around the dark room.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to open that cupboard if you want to see what's going on in the room.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So you might as well take the light out and set it in the center of the room as the centerpiece to eliminate the whole room.
Mm-hmm.
Roll the corn.
Oh yeah, I got some good ones, Raw. I'm telling you, they finna get good. I got the
Where
good
there's
ones that
dump
come up.
trucks trying to pick up these huge blocks, and they can't even pick it up. The blocks are actually making the truck tip. Then you see them come in there with these claws, and they try to like pick up the blocks, and they're tipping over our modern day construction vehicles. So then you sit here and go and you look at this, and you go, okay, so you didn't have any of that. You didn't have the dump trucks. You didn't have the construction vehicles. You didn't have power tools. You must have just had work ethic. Actually, that's what it must have been. It must have been you just had some work ethic. And somehow with that work ethic, you got all that granite, and you got all that stone, and you got all that glass, you got all that copper, you got all the brass, you got all those materials, you got all the wood too. If you needed wood too, you got all that. It just, poof, popped out of the air, and you could just build buildings and throw them up. It's just wild because the more you get into it, and I got more pictures with color so you guys can see. Look at that. I mean, there's color.
And this is in America, by the way, y'all.
Remember that whole
Prior
thing?
to that, what they saying.
The blue roof. And then we got another one. I'll show you that one real quick. Hold on, I can just kind of move.
So here's the World Fair, like in Chicago. He's showing the World Fair in Chicago,
There's
y'all.
the blue roof. More color. I mean, look at the detail. Does that look like a temporary building? And what's funny is they said that these buildings were built out of paper mache. Yeah, they were just sitting there with paper mache and crafting out paper. They might as well take them and build them out of cardboard too as well, which is funny. And then you go into a building like this and you see, which is very interesting, almost looks kind of like with the mosques. You know how the mosques look? And then you have more pictures of people. And you got more.
New York City, very interesting place, where they supposedly threw this massive building together in a single year, the Empire State Building. From 1930 to 1931, a 102-story high, 1,250-foot tall skyscraper that was the tallest building in the world until 1970. 12 months or less. We are told this was done. Remember, they have to work through winters. And this story gets extremely interesting and begins to show us how they do this and how these buildings are quickly thrown into the narrative where people didn't even have a chance to verify what was even really going on in the early 1900s, where they're telling us that the Waldorf Astoria was constructed in 1893, and then they demolish it in 1929, making way for the construction of the Empire State Building. So immediately, alarms should be going off in all of our minds. This narrative has just started, and we have already found something massive, where they were knocking down Renaissance Revival style hotels after just 36 years. Now, a side note, I just want to add in my personal opinion at this point, where you can believe whatever you like. But I believe that these buildings, as we've seen in Chicago, were actually constructed somewhere else in New York City. And they were demolished in 1929, but not to be replaced by the Empire State Building. I believe that the Empire State Building was always here. And these construction photos are ridiculous, where they are clearly edited. And they even admit that some of these photos were basically to trick the public when they say that this famous photo of the guys sitting on the beam was arranged as a publicity stunt, all a part of a campaign promoting the skyscraper. Now, this is for the Rockefeller Center, but only 1 year after the Empire State Building. So they were in the business of doctoring photos during this time period, manipulating the public. So this is not a shocking accusation at this point, since we have seen this so many times, especially when the identity of the actual photographer remains unknown. They have a lie on the wall. What else can we find? Remember, they have to get all the men. They need to get everything ready. And then, after all that's done, knock out the tallest building in the world. All completed in 1931. When they start putting this building in the movies, like King Kong, and showing the world that this is the brand new building. where we all know how the industry works at this point. We all know how it goes. We know that it promotes the narrative that it wants to, and it promotes the people that are in the group, and that's fine. They can do that. But it is our job to understand what is going on, and what has been going on for a very long time, where it says, it is the first of many iconic roles the building will play on the silver screen, and among its most important pop culture moments, in my opinion.
Now ask yourself this. This was supposed to be the 19...
Right there, we go to it's another phase. Now, Rod, so in 1933, that we already know that year, that's right there, the Great Depression. Now, he said, based on, and it's other brothers too, based on their research, that Empire State Building has been there at least almost 100 years before they tell them, saying it was there. So,
why would we think anything different when we know they turned our castles into prisons?
Right.
State buildings, mental institutions. Right. You got to look at how omission, right? How they leave stuff out on purpose. Because when you start seeing the conceptual physics of the story they telling, the math is not mathing.
No kind of work.
So now you got to go do algebra and find the unknown variable. Right? So we had to change. We went from one system to another system. Look, this is where, if you go to a computer programmer, right? And you say, I'm going to wipe the memory from this computer so you have all new memory. Right? He'll tell you there still remains traces of the memory in the computer from the last user.
That's right.
Right? That means that he can still go in there after you've been using it and filled it up and get the information from the prior user.
It's called a signature.
Right. So the same way with the strata of the earth, every strata is a different cycle period. When that cycle period is over, you create a new cycle period. By changing everything, you have to destroy the old to bring in the new. Right? In India, they call them the Yuga cycles or Yuga years. Right? Some people call them Kali years. Because Kali controls time. Time, Mama Kali controls time. Kali Ma. Right? So before there was a father time, there was a mother time. And her practitioners be called thuggy or them thugs. And this is what it sounds like when thugs cry.
Right.
Meet me at the crossroads.
Right.
See, it's all in there, showing you the repeat in the cycles. It's in the art, it's in the entertainment. Everything is recycled, repurposed, and reused. If you can't see that, you won't know how to come up with nothing new. Because you're so busy stuck creating what you already know.
Yeah.
What's familiar to you. But when you break the paradigm, you start to make your spirit starts to give you a different artistic expression to the world. Now you can create.
Hey, my question, you finished, Rod? My question right to go along with what we saw so far is, okay, then, so the slave narrative, if all these buildings was in the 1900s, that slave narrative and everything they told us pretty much is crap. Anything they told us about us that put us in a lower light, like when we slaves or servants or anything like that, that it's all lies. Anything that put us in a lower light other than, hey, you guys were supreme, just like the Honorable Elijah Muhammad told us. Y'all are the gods of the cream of the crop, right? Anything that put us less than that before 1920. because so they had to just recently come up with this slave narrative, Rod, during the Rockefeller General Educational Board, 1903, right? 1903. They had to come up with that
Well,
narrative.
the only reason why I don't say they just came up with it then is because we have like David Walker is like, who is these people on our land in bondage?
Yeah.
Right. So we had somebody from our side questioning the practice. It's not culturally accepted on this land for you to hold people in bondage. So when he's seen it, he wrote the open letter for other chiefs to get a hold of it and to assess the area and see if they having the same issue. Right. So when he put the appeal out, it became a firestorm of propaganda warfare, and the government came out to rebut it in newspaper articles, right? Saying they didn't never rebut the content of it. They said you should not read David Walker's appeal because it's a inflammatory rhetoric of an extremist, basically, to try to convince people not to read it. But that just made us want to read it more.
Right.
He's a crazed Negro with a wicked pen. Oh, let me read what this brother talk about. Right? So we got to keep those things in mind when we're looking at the narrative we given. And then when we start seeing structural things that don't match the story, that's your ancestors talking from the past.
That's right.
Right? We already built it. That's why they all came. When they say we instrumental in building this country, because we built it.
That makes sense.
We've been here from the beginning. There was no here when we came because we had to build here so we can be here. We one with the earth, organic to nature. So we emerged in the location in which we from.
That's right.
Spirit took on body, and body walked amongst the men of the earth. It's a metaphorical formula for your consciousness awakening your human body.
All right, Rod. So let me create a timeline here, and then you tell me what you think. All right. So it had to be after the American Revolution when they created this. It had to be at least after the 1776 number or the 1773 American Revolution, 1776 the Illuminati, and then so they had to create this narrative. Based on my calculations and what I did in the other research, is it had to happen around after the Louisiana Purchase, like around 60 during the Civil War when they re-implement the black codes, or when they fully created that narrative. I think it had to be like 1865 after the Civil War when they created the Freedmen's Bureau, the Juneteenth fraud story, all these fraudulent stories about us being in captivity. How somebody that's slaves and savages you brought on a ship, and then all the people you saying that was over here, how all these buildings over here are hundreds of years. And then some of the architects I'm gonna show you, man, it's like still they had to have some type of technology. It wasn't just no chisel and hammer on this joint, man. Them boys didn't have no just no chisel and hammer on this type of architect, man.
You know, we find all that ancient architecture, but we never find the tools they use.
Yeah, that's right.
When we find tools, it's normally contemporary with primitive man tools, like bone hammer and all that. That's a sign that somebody was living off the fat of the land. That's all that means. That don't mean they didn't have technology. Right. It just means that this group of people chose not to live in the areas where technology was in place because they looked at it as sorcery and magic. Technology is sorcery and magic to primitive people. The man with the fire stick, all tribes bow. Fire stick is the gun.
Right.
When primitive people see a gun for the first time, he got a fire stick.
Yeah.
He holds the power of the thunder in his hand
Right.
and the lightning.
Right.
Because he got the flash and the boom. Mystified minds, and they begin to accept things from a different perspective.
That's right.
They are in awe at the power of the fire stick. Right? The alien coming from another planet is laughing at your switches. Because
Right.
he busting your ass with lasers.
Oh, with something that disintegrates.
Yeah, he hitting you with wave weapons that paralyze your central nervous system while you standing there watching him walk up to you slow.
Yeah.
You can't even move.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Flash you and you forgot you saw him.
Yeah.
All that shit in them sci-fi movies is more legitimate than the shit in the motherfucking regular movies and the documentaries.
That brings my next question, bro. Now, in a lot of the technology they showed in the Man in Black, I got videos of the Tartarians having all that technology, like that machine they was driving, that like a roller cart thing, like all that stuff we had already invented over here already. That they
Yeah, that
scrapped.
was called a univheel or something like that.
Yeah, yeah. So even the flash thing you talk about. Now, oh yeah, that's what I was going to ask you, because we're still dealing with 19 around this time. Now, we had all this technology, and it's going to show some of this in the videos. All this free energy. Muhammad said that they put the mother wheel up 1929. Now, and it's about around the same time that they tearing down all of our technology. They destroying all of our ancient healing centers. Do you think that we, our group of scientists that had already invented all this technology, said that, hey, or they had some kind of a time machine or something, they said, hey, man, these guys finna try to destroy us. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna come together, build this machine, put it up there, and that way it'll be up there. And then even if he do take us all the way down, that machine gonna be the backup plan. This mother wheel. Go ahead.
The mother wheel was already built.
Okay.
That's why it's called the New Jerusalem, the Crystal City in Revelation.
No, I'm not talking about that one.
Listen what I'm telling you. Listen what I'm telling you.
Okay.
Elijah Muhammad was talking about where Farrar was explaining him the building of the mother plane. Right? And he said that they ordered parts from all of the automotive manufacturers of the era. Mm-hmm. They didn't want one of them to build the whole thing they was building, so they
compartmentalized. That's what they call it. They did it in the Air Force.
They outsourced. They outsourced the work for different parts of the mechanics. Mm-hmm. Now, he said it was a half mile by a half mile. That's a big ship in modern times. But in ancient times, it's just as much as building a regular airplane.
Yeah, a blimp. They had these blimps, huge blimps. Like
But the blimps are made different than the mothership.
That's right.
Right. Now, we do know, contemporary with the rise of Adolf Hitler, that the people from Germany was experimenting. Now, this is during the early 1930s. Mind you, World War II break out in the mid-30s, like 33, 34.
Yeah.
Right. And it lasts to 1945. It gradually escalated from Europe. America don't get into it till years later. The war's been raging.
1945.
Right. That's when it ended.
No, I'm talking about when they got popped their paperclip. That's what I'm thinking about.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because when they ended the war, they had to have a negotiated treaty. Mm-hmm. Conditions of surrender and conditions of the victor. Mm-hmm. Right. So Nazis, which is Ashkenazi, the Ashkenazis, which we call them, let's say orange juice. Right. So we calling them the juice. But reality is that's the cover story. Paperclip was an attempt to conceal who they really wanted to bring over here. Right? And those people that they really wanted to bring over here, names is not released to the public. The ones that they want you to know about, all of the ones that went into Lockheed, Scott, and NASA, and they went to the Wright-Patterson Air Force Base, they let their names be known for a reason. Somebody is the scapegoat, the fall guy, the patsy, the crash dummy.
Right.
The one you exposing to the public is not the one you trying to protect. Why would they expose Nazis to the public if they wanted to keep them safe? Think about that for a minute. Operation Paperclip would have brought them in under the disguise.
That's right.
Right? So then you got to realize that the whole World War II story we told in the Anne Frank diaries, all that shit was made up. All of the so-called Hitler videos we see, those were not even produced in Germany. They was produced in Hollywood, California.
And that's a fake Hitler.
That's why they never showed you the real Hitler. Yeah. Those were coming from what they used to call them back then, newsreels. And they was telling the paleface over here that it wasn't no more people that looked like us in power nowhere on the planet. So they couldn't run the reel of Adolf Hitler looking like me and you. So they ran, the guy that played Hitler is a classmate of Charlie Chaplin from acting school.
Yeah.
The same acting school.
I seen that.
That's why they got the same mustache.
Yeah, he's actor.
It's called vaudeville. When you do your vaudevillian history, most people don't have time to do all of the history of this stuff. But when you do your vaudevillian history, you find out that the entertainment capital was New York, but they wouldn't allow the tiny hats in. So they set up their own production system in Hollywood. Right? They had to get rid of Biddy Mason first. She was the blood sacrifice. They're not gonna never tell you the real story, but when you know who's the rightful heirs, it's gonna tell you. Look up Biddy Mason. Biddy Mason was on most of the land that we call Los Angeles right now. They say she was born in slavery. I don't believe it.
No, I won't. But crap, straight crap.
Because remember, at the time she was around, we had the largest holding of heirs land in the country out of anybody else. If we was all slaves, how are we getting heirs land? That's land passed down the family lines. This is how they stole it from the matriarchy, by marrying patriarchs on the matriarchs, and the man become the leader of the house, and he kill off the woman. He kill off the woman, now he can make a sharecropping deal and lose the property by the attrition model. Look up the word attrition and understand the concept of attrition. That's when you gradually do something. They didn't take all our stuff overnight. They took it over time. They told us they stole the land. It's still here.
Right.
And we still own it. In possession is 9/10 of the law. So we 99% in the right.
Right.
Right. All we got to do is put it in the public domain, and the tribes is responsible to put it in the public domain. Your enemy not responsible to tell you anything that's going to benefit you ever. He's not obligated to do it. Now, he didn't plan on doing it. It's your responsibility to see beyond what the enemy is telling you and what's really taking place. All these cities is ancient metropolises: Detroit, Chicago, Cleveland. Cleveland used to be the congregation center for a big family union called the Browns. This is why their sports team is the Browns.
That's right.
The Browns is one of the largest tribes on the land, old Mississippians. And they settled in what they used to call Cleveland territory. Cleveland is It's a play on the word cleaver, which is actually making reference to what we call a mohawk, a tomahawk.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's the same instrument made from two different places. The cleaver came from Asia. The tomahawk came from over here. We just use the tools different. They still used to use them to chop food up and cook. Just like they'd chop your head off with it and take your head. It's the same with swords in Arabia. The Arabian sword don't look like the European sword.
That's right. You got like a little
samurai sword don't look like the Arabian sword or the European sword. And they don't even call it a sword, they call it a katana.
That's right.
Right? So the tool is different, but a swordsman is a swordsman no matter which one of the sword disciplines he came from. It's just that they all use the different tool to accomplish the same job. But the tool is similar and serve the same purpose. Right? So when you look at the Spartans' helmet, that's the Mohawks tribes. The Mohawks is a tribe led by a Mohawk chief who wore his hair like that in order for his tribesmen to be able to see him.
Black Hawk.
Everybody in the tribe didn't wear the Mohawk. Only certain warriors that was on the front lines wore the Mohawk. The rest of them wore braids, locks, froze.
That's right.
You know, some wore feathers in their hair, some didn't. Some weaved leather in their hair. Yeah, but they all knew that when they seen that Mohawk leading the charge, they knew then that this is the way that we had to go to pursue the fight. They tell us that they came from Spartans, and that's their helmet. That's our haircut in war. Right. Our war garb is expressed in our cultural remembrance. Right? From how when you repping your hood, you're wearing your flag. Flags are European in origin. They not from over here. We used to wear it in our garb. Old Mississippian wolf tribe. He coming to the war dressed like a damn wolf.
Right.
Old Mississippian Bison Clan. He's coming to the war dressed like a buffalo. The Black Panther King. They coming to the war dressed in a Black Panther skin. Because that was their initiation rite for the times of war. We wasn't wearing that stuff on no day-to-day basis. We was dapper dying. Ask some boys in New Orleans. That's where we used to manufacture our new dress styles out of New Orleans. But every tribe gave it their own swag. Ain't none of this stuff new.
Nope.
The remembrance got to come from where the fall took place, New York.
Yeah.
The Dutch, New Amsterdam became New Yorkshire, became New York. Right? So what has to happen? During the time of the awakening, the remembrance call has to come from the first place to fall to the foreign invasion. And then you end up with New York being the birthplace of modern hip hop, which traces back to the Mississippi Delta blues, to the old Mississippian clans who sang them stories on the front porch, entertaining Big Ma and the family. They call them stand-up comedians. We used to call them uncles on the porch.
Right.
Right? Because at nighttime, we didn't have no TV. We didn't listen to the radio. The family had a band in the barn. We had fires around which we told stories. The stories we told around our pumpkin festival became known as horror stories or scary stories. And only certain Greeks was qualified to tell the story because he could keep you hung on his words And when he slammed his hands together like a door slamming while he's explaining it to you, you jump like you there.
Mm-hmm.
But it's also a training exercise on how to focus the mind. So everything we did served the educational purpose and the functional purpose. What we consider as entertainment, we used to use it to educate each other.
Mm-hmm.
They gave us education in what they call diction format. That means we being dictated to what to think. That's not what we used to do. We used to give knowledge by abstract format, open air education, not four wall, Skinner box, Pavlovian bells response systems. Right? This is why you got professors, because all they doing is professing.
Right? Professor, no.
Right? But the professor is the dictator. Because when you go to class, he's giving dictation. He's telling you how to think and what to think.
Right.
You have to write it down so you can parrot it back to make sure that you are taking the dictation properly. Straight up the wazoo.
Damn.
It's all in the lingo of the language and they're telling the story, but they don't know what they're telling you.
That's cold, boy. That's a cold piece. All right, let's roll some more clips because we going pretty fast. I got some good ones.
Roll
New York City.
Now ask yourself this. This was supposed to be the 1900s, but again, I told you, don't follow timelines. The timelines are wrong. They all manipulate the timeline. So we don't know exactly what the exact date is. Now look at his name, okay? Remember, they told you the sinking of the Titanic, okay, is because they have a lot of powerful people in there. And the rise, let me say this again, the rise of the Reconstruction era. Let me say this again. The rise of the Reconstruction era. The Reconstruction era means the destruction of these buildings. What you call Tartaria. What you call Tartaria. What you call the fair, the World Fair. The way you saw Chicago with all these buildings. The way you saw St. Louis with all these buildings. The way you saw Philadelphia with all these buildings. The way you saw New York with all these buildings. That was the empire. This was the empire operation. Let me say this again. The Tartarian didn't want to call things because the best way for them to change shit, to make you seem like it was never you, is to give something a name. It was all us. We built this. This is when the empire was running. All these buildings was built by the empire. That's why they told you, the mayor, the founder of Chicago, Francis Schaub, he was not a founder of Chicago. He was the region leader from the empire of Chicago because the entire America was running by the empire, and that's why. So now, remember, the Reconstruction era starts because you have a group of foreign people. Now, what are these foreign people? The same foreign enemies that we have since the 1400s is the same foreign enemy then. Nothing changed. We still at war with the same groups of people. They're still around. So these people want to establish what you call the banking system. Okay? This is when now the new banking system, the federal banking system. And they want to introduce the system of what you call taxation. Okay? So now they have to get...
Hey, these are the guys right here. Folk kissing their shoes, boy.
The Rockefellers are one of the most powerful.
Shh. Come with me, let me show you something.
Usury. Any interest rate is called usury. Usury is illegal. So in Christian nations, lending money for an interest rate was illegal. So because it was illegal for the Christians, who did the lending? The Jews. So there was Christians who could lend for 0% or didn't lend at all. And then these people called the Jews would come over and start lending money. They would start charging money. And in a couple generations, guess what would happen to the economy? The Jews owned everything. And then guess what the king did? Rounded them up and threw them out of the country. Then they go to the next country and what would they do? Same thing. And what would that king do? round them up, kick them out of the country. This went on for thousands of years. This is why the Jews in history have had no country, because the king would they would say no usury, no money lending, and they would start the money lending, they would start the central bank to compete with the king would kick them out. They go to the next country, do it again. So this has happened over and over and over again, because
the same thing
right here from Napoleon, he would show the compound interest tables, and he said in a very short amount of time, compound interest would eat up every piece of property in France. In fact, I'm going to show you how powerful compound interest is. It's a very scary thing. And there's a reason why it was illegal. Illegal in the Christian nations and the Christian philosophy, because it would literally enslave people. Guys, the interest on credit cards enslave people today. Does student loans enslave